Alright guys, so today we have a different, another rogue deck on our hands, Evil Eyes. So Peter over here is going to explain his strategy behind his Evil Eye build, which is a bit different than the usual builds, which is not too stunning as you'd expect. So here's his take on it.
Alright, as you can see, standard main deck extra. I'll start with the main deck. Should be fairly standard to begin with. First, 3 Serziel. Well, you can't really not play anything less than this, to be honest. Serziel is your Stratos, searches any of your Evil Eye spells, traps, monsters, as you like. It gets your access to your entire engine. Moving on, we have 1 Medusa. I've seen a lot of people play 2, to be honest. I honestly never missed the second one. Felt like every time I opened it, I just regretted having it. It's just nicer to have 1, to be honest, as an access. Should you need to summon it from Awakening, should you need it in the grind game to add back your cards from the grave to the hand. Also, as an additional effect, you can use this as DD Crow if it's equipped with Evil Eye Selene. And yeah, I guess that's it for this one. And this might be a controversial ratio. Play 3 Basilius. Basilius honestly is one of the best cards of the deck. Special summons for free, helps you make the link 2, helps you send your spells and traps to the graveyard to extend even more. Plus, it makes the deck a little bit more oriented to play second, in a way. You have more ways to special summon, more ways to extend, more ways to get Evil Eye Selene in the graveyard. Should you get Veilered, for example, on Serziel, Impermanence on Serziel, Widow Anchor on Serziel. There's a plethora of cards that will try and stop Serziel. Moving on, we have the 1 Catoblepast, kind of the brick, but it's a nice extender should you need to go in the link 3, try to break boards, try to destroy spells and traps with the Zerziel, the guy with the link 3 basically. But I'd still run on, to be honest. Better to have it and not need it. Moving on, we have the 3 field spells. Searches all of your monsters in the deck, just consistency boost, and the terraforming obviously, to max it out. Moving on, it's another controversial ratios. 3 Evil Eye Selene. I've seen a lot of people cut this to 2. Personally, I'm a big fan of 3, to be honest. The amount, again, following up the Serziel and Basilius idea. Everyone's gonna Ash Blossom your Serziel, everyone's gonna Ash Veiler your Serziel, Imperm your Serziel. Serziel will almost never resolve going first, especially in a very hand trap heavy format. So the amount of times I'd normally summon Serziel, get Veiler, get Ashed, then equip this from the hand is crazy.
It's essentially as surplus invocation.
Exactly, this basically better have it and not, yeah. If you have the invocation, you have the invocation with Alistair. This is the same mentality, and your deck functions on this.
Yeah, except with invocation you only have the Alistair to fuse with, whereas with this Eye of Selene you can equip it to any Evil Eye monster.
Yes. But generally speaking, the monster that's going to get negated is usually going to be Serziel, because he's the one who gives you the plus. I think this is fine. Plus, this is perfect discard fodder if you want to use it with Gorgonea, Twin Twister, or like any side cards should you use them. Then, for the one-offs, we have Evil Eye Reemergence. This is the token generator of the deck. Following the theme of the entire deck, the base effects of all of your spells and traps give you 1 effect, and the additional effect, should you have Evil Eye of Selene, gives you an additional. The base effect of this gives you a token, but it locks you to summoning fiends. Should you have Selene, you get 2 tokens. And the neat part about this is that you can still summon nightmares. You have Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, since they're fiends as well. So this also helps. Or should you go second as well, you can make Zerziel, you can make Gorgon, the Link 2. It's a very flexible card, but one of is fine, to be honest. Then we have Awakening. Originally, when I started playing this deck, I thought it's basically Emergence Teleport. It's a fantastic card. Why don't people play 3 of this? But in testing, in practice, once you actually run the deck, you'll figure it out. This card can be a brick at certain times where you don't have Evil Eye Selene, since it's only special summons from the hand or grave. And the deck honestly lacks the turbo ability, where this might be super useful going first if you don't have the Evil Eye Selene. So one-off, to be honest, is fine. You can search it whenever you need it. Plus, even going second, you can use it to summon another monster to extend. Then, the one-off, honestly, I think I'd still run this. It's an MST as a base effect. It's a Cosmic Cyclone if you have Evil Eye Selene. It's a very flexible card, to be honest, easy to search. Honestly, I don't feel it's like a searchable MST in your deck. Then, this is another controversial card. Playing 3 Foolish Bearer Goods and 2 Gorgonea. I've seen a lot of people play 1 and 3, 1 and 2, some people not play this whatsoever, completely in favor of floodgates and whatnot. The decks, the way I built the deck was more built towards an aggro mentality, I guess, in a way. Less stun, less floodgates, less annoying cards, more fair interactive cards. In fairness, this might not be the best meta build, since you're trying to play fair with a very balanced deck and compared to what the meta does. But Foolish Burial Goods is a very, very flexible card. The amount of time this is what helps you extend past hand traps. You normal summon Cerziel, you get Veilered, you get Ashed or whatever. Use Foolish Burial Goods, you dump Gorgonea, you get whatever missing piece you're needing. And this is another reason why you're playing multiple copies of Evil Eye of Selene, because it's perfect discard fodder as well for this. Or you can dump Catoblepas. There are several targets you can discard without really losing too much advantage.
And to be fair, it doesn't hurt to play a more
yes,
build of your deck.
And the deck honestly has practically, besides the pots that you play, the deck practically has no draw power. So usually you play 3 of cards that you want to see as much as possible. It's the same reason with Desires. People say, oh, I don't want to draw multiple Desires, but they still play 3 because it's an amazing card and they want to draw it as much as they can. This is the same mentality. It's an amazing card. If you draw 2, so be it. But the deck lacks the draw power, lacks the consistency, especially trying to play through floodgates. And since I'm through hand traps. And since I'm not playing as many floodgates to really, really simplify the game state, I wanted something to immediately generate advantage for me so that I can actually get to my engine as fast as possible. So 2 is fine, to be honest. Also, drawing this in multiples can be annoying, but that's why I cut it down to 2. For the traps, I only play Evil Eye Retribution and Defeat. I considered Mesmerism, the crackdown kind of effect. I didn't really find too much value in it. These 2 are just perfect, to be honest. Evil Eye Defeat, as a base effect, is a compulsory evacuation. As a Selene effect with the additional effect, it's a double compulse, which is fantastic. And it can actually bounce your own monsters. So for example, in a situation I was playing against Cyber Dragons, the opponent, my end field was Cerziel with the Selene equipped, an Ash Blossom in hand, Evil Eye of Defeat, and I had 1 trap in my deck, which I'll get to eventually, as my board. The opponent evenly matched my field, so I chained this. This doesn't say you're locked to only bouncing your opponent's cards, opponent's monsters. So I used this to bounce my own Cerziel, and since my Cerziel left the field, the equip gets destroyed and goes to the grave. So at that point, I protected my Evil Eye spell from going from getting banished face down. I got a Cerziel for follow-up for next turn, and I kept the trap, the 1 trap that I had on my field, as disruption, as well as Ash Blossom, and that was enough for me to help stop the opponent from overextending and establishing their board. And Retribution is honestly just a fantastic card. Negates spells and traps, Twin Twisters, Cosmic Cyclones, especially that will try to destroy your Cosmic Cyclone. It's just generically good. And, well, no one's going to be playing Red Reboot against you, but the additional effect says it can be responded to if you have Evil Eye of Selene. Very niche, probably never comes up. Then for non-engine cards, we have the 3 Extravagances. Personally, if I had Prosperities, I'd probably play Prosperities. Extravagance, while it's a nice +1 card, honestly you might get in scenarios where you just draw, but you do not get the engine cards that you might need. And Prosperity, I don't know, I just feel like Prosperity, even post-siding, is even better. You can draw into your side cards, going first, going second. It's a very flexible card. But if you have Extravagance, can't go wrong with Extravagance. It's a +1, and your extra deck is very flexible. Moving on, we have 1 Clover Grave. Your deck can play through hand traps, especially with the 3 Foolish Burial Goods. But if you ever draw it, it's just insulation, so that you don't get disrupted. Even if you don't get hand trap, you can just set it. It's a perfect disruption card, especially in the format when you have Tri Brigade. I guess against Tri Brigade, but you can negate. You can banish Rays. You can banish Salamangreat cards, even though they're not as popular right now. But it's just generically flexible card, and even post siding you can remove this should you not need it. And this is where like the territory of non-engine cards. So this is very flexible area. You can usually play what you want. Then moving on, we have the hand traps. I'm playing 3 Ash Blossom. Again, if you're playing a stun build, these are 3 floodgates. But I try not to go towards that route. Try to play it more aggro-oriented, more fair, balanced. Yeah, it's more interactive. Yeah, exactly, that's the word. So 3 Ash Blossoms and 3 Veilers. Veiler can be impermanence also, but I play specifically Veilers because the next card I'm playing is 2 Phantasme. This could be 3 Phantasme if you want, instead of the 3rd Call of the Grave. I didn't have 3 at the moment, so I just ran 2. But this is another perfect card since, honestly, I have a history of losing all of my dice rolls. So I go into deal with the mindset of I'm gonna lose the dice roll. It's not the best mindset, but even if you draw it going first, it's not the most terrible card, because the way you play this deck, you play it in a control-oriented way. So you disrupt the opponent a little bit. The opponent special summons a link monster. You get this. You can draw into your Ash. You can draw into your Veiler, and that's why I'm playing Veiler as well instead of Impermanence, because you can actually draw into it. So you can get disruption cards, get another body on the field, and this is a body you can actually use to link summon. Gorgon, the link to, she's somewhat generic. She just needs an Evil Eye monster and any monster extra. So it's a very easy card to link climb into should you need it. And it's just protection as well. If you're going second, you can protect your Cerseals from Impermanence and Veilers, because it protects from targeting. And by discarding to protect your cards from being negated, you can actually discard your Evil Eye of Selene, which also you pay 3 of. It's like perfect discard fodder. And the last 3 cards, I 3 they can only be 1. I was originally playing 3 Torrential Tribute, trying to play the fair game. I don't want to play too many Floodgates, but I got to a point where I'm already playing at a disadvantage. My deck's a very casual deck. The amount of decks I would go against that would be meta would just stomp me if I don't at least have some form of card that buys me a little bit of time. So I just felt like the last 3 cards in my deck, I just play 3, there can only be 1. It can affect you to a degree, but this is a very easy card you can side out against bad matchups. But at the end of the day, they can't. They will struggle against link summoning. They will struggle against certain matchups, and at the same time, it doesn't really affect you as much. You really just play it in a way, protect the castle. Summon Cerseal and activate there can only be 1. Summon Gorgon, activate there can only be 1, and you can just win over that advantage. And should you ever need it, you can actually use Cerseal's second effect to destroy this during the standby phase, so they can actually go for a push. And that's what I usually used to do. Stun the opponent for 1 turn, destroy the special summon monster, then on my standby phase, destroy there can only be 1, go for a push and kill them. Which is very nice for a control deck that can actually do a lot of damage.
And that's 40 cards.
And that's 40 cards exactly, yes.
Okay, so let's go extra deck next.
Moving to extra deck. Extra deck is honestly very free. The only cards you need, pay 3 Cerseal. I see people cutting it to 2. I actually go into this a lot more than standard since I'm playing it more in an aggro oriented way. But this is a fantastic card, especially it does the cost that you use, because Cerseal pops one of your cards as a cost when you use his effect. This guy doesn't have that effect. It depends on a link arrows. So in essence, it's a free pop. You don't need to worry about in a simplified game state. You might have to pop your own back row. You might have to pop your own Selene, for example. It's generically good to be honest. And 3 because of extravagance. I'd like to at least have the option of summoning it should I need it. Moving on, we have the 3 Gorgon. This is honestly the mainstay of the deck. This is what you go to generally all the time. Effect negation is fantastic. She's pretty big, I guess 19. She gets pretty even bigger with the Evil Eye Selene. Just generically good.
It's a link too, so it's easier to make.
And this is another card I've seen no one, to be honest, play this card. This card is basically for bricks. Scenarios where you draw Basilius or scenarios where you draw Catoblepas and you don't actually draw any Cerseals or Medusas or the field spell, whatever. In this scenario, you can normal summon your Basilius, activate his effect, send a Gorgonea to the grave, then make an Almirage. You can use Gorgonea, so it's kind of it's an iffy card, but it helps play through very unfavorable hands to at least have a play rather than just passing and doing nothing. It's an unoptimal play, but it's a play rather than nothing, in essence.
Makes sense.
That's why it's just one. It doesn't come up as much, but it's rather good to have. Then we play 2 Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix is a fiend, as we established before, and you can summon this even should you use the token generator. And I play 2 because I guess it's the most generically useful one. So even if you banish one from Extravagance, the option is there. Even if you banish both, it's not really an issue. Then another more nightmares, Cerberus and Phoenix. I never really went into these, but they're fiends should they come up. This is good, for example, against Dinos, because they can't Book of Moon your tokens with Tyranno, and it's just there. It never really came up. Unchained Abomination. This is as well the only honestly useful Link 4 fiend that you can actually use with the token generator. I actually summoned this once after my opponent twin twisted my Evil Eye Selenes, but they couldn't really break my board, for example. You summon this, in the end phase you can destroy your own field spell, trigger its effect, add back the Cerseals to the hand. It's very niche, It's still, but it's better to have. It's a link 4 that you can actually summon through your deck. And should you have this guy and Serziel, you can destroy with Serziel, trigger this guy's effect, destroy even another card. In the end phase, destroy another card. So if you're playing against a control matchup where they're just setting and you simplify the game state, every turn they're going to draw, they're going to set a card, end phase you can destroy it. It's neat, especially when Serziel doesn't destroy face down cards, well, besides the link 3. And then, generic cards, to be honest. We Witch actually came up as well once when they Twin Twisted or Cosmic Cyclone my Evil Eye Celine, and I had no way to get access to my other cards. I had this, then you can crash it, add back Serziel, normal summon the Serziel. It's niche. The extra deck is all niche cards, but that's the thing about playing. That's the beauty about playing Extravagance. You don't really need them. It's just there as options should you need them. Barricade Board Blocker can add back the field spell to the hand. It's a machine, so you can't actually use the token generator. But with Phantasmia, another useful thing about Phantasmia is that it's a body. It's a Phantasmia generic body. You can use it for this as well. Masquerena, I actually used this once with combination of this after I lost my monsters. This was summoned before the token generator because I already had monsters on the field, and you can use it to protect your monster from destruction. And I guess that's it for the extra deck. Mainly it's 3 Gorgon, 3 Zerziel, and the extra is all free space, to be honest. Moving on to the side, we have Pankratops, to be honest. Fantastic card, one off. I feel like most side decks should be playing this. It's a generically good card, especially against Rogue, Meta, regardless. Then, something where you don't really see control decks really playing a lot of the time. For example, take Altergeist. Altergeist will never play Dark Ruler no more because to activate Dark Ruler no more, set 3 back row, do nothing. This is a scenario, I'll go into a combo later on, where Dark Ruler no more plus about like 17 card combinations or something like that can help you break a monster heavy negation board. I'll get into it later. Then we have the 3 Mystic Mines. I know I didn't want to play it to the stun build, but it's a side option and gives you a chance. Plus, playing Terraforming in your main deck essentially means you're playing 4 copies of this if you need it. It's useful, helps you buy you some time to establish, plus you can always destroy it with Serziel when you have less monsters than your opponent and go for a push on the following turn. Then we have 3 Twin Twisters. This could be Cosmic Cyclone, but I actually didn't mind the discard, which is another reason why I'm also playing 3 of the equips, 3 of Celine, because I can discard Celine, I can discard Gorgonea, I have a lot of discard fodder. So this actually came in clutch as well against zombies, I think. Discard Gorgonea, destroy Zombie World, destroy the anti-spell that they chained on my draw phase. Then just full combo out of that, establish Gorgonea, Zerziel, Medusa. Medusa just keep banishing the Ballard rocks. It's like GG from there. Then we have 3 Sanctums. This is mainly for going first. So like, you have cards, you have Phantasmi for example, as an easy side out card for going first. I was playing these cards because I thought it's a floodgate that stuns for on 1 turn, gives you a body which you can actually use for link summoning, and so you can just attack with it simply. And any subsequent copies of Sanctum, should you draw them in the grind game and the opponent doesn't actually die immediately on turn 3, these are cards you can destroy with Serziel on the standby phase to get the additional effect to destroy another card. It's neat, it's niche, but it's there. And for the 15th card, honestly, I didn't really know what I want to play as a 15th card, so I just ran Traptrick as a 4th copy of Sanctum. Honestly, it could be anything. I just played it for the heck of it, I guess. And that's it, I guess, for the main side and extra.
Great, thank you so much. This is a quite interesting deck, and I think it has much more potential than people give it credit. Like, you're not going to know YCS deck, deck, but it has some potential and it catch some people off guard if played well.
It's a locals levels deck.
Yeah, well.
Alright, to cover the combo that I previously mentioned in the deck profile, this is a combination of Dark Ruler No More, which is obviously a side card, you can't really search this at that point, and any way to access Serziel, which you have multiple ways of getting, and any way of accessing Evil Eye Reemergence. So to quickly cover this, you activate Dark Ruler No More, turn off all of the monster negation board. Normal summon Serziel, activate Serziel, and the neat part is Serziel can search any missing piece. Since you already have the token generator, you search Evil Eye of Celine. At this point, you activate Evil Eye of Celine, use Serziel effect to destroy a special summoned monster on the opponent's side of the field, use Celine's effect to gain 500 attack, and lose 500 life points as well. Then, you activate the token generator, get 2 tokens, and since you activated another Evil Eye spell or trap, Celine triggers once more, gaining 500 attack and losing 500 life points. Then you use the 2 monsters and the Cerziel to summon a Zerziel. And since Zerziel was summoned using a monster with 2600 or more attack, he can get 2 attacks per battle phase. And then, since in the part of the combo you use the spell, an Evil Eye spell, you can banish that spell, reset the Evil Eye Celine, activate Evil Eye Celine to equipping it to Zerziel. Using Zerziel effect, destroy any other card on the field, not only special summon monsters. And then, since you use this effect, he becomes 3100 because of Evil Eye Celine's effect. So essentially what you did at this point, you Dark Rule no more to turn off everything. You got a Cerziel pop of a special summon monster. You got a Zerziel pop of any card on the field. And now you have a 3100 beater / towers that can attack 2 times on the opponent's monsters and is follow-up disruption on the opponent's turn. Like if they have Dragon Ravine, they want to use for follow-up. And that's pretty much it. And the neat part is, like I mentioned earlier, you have 3 Cerziel, you have Terraforming, you have the Field Spell, you have Gorgonea to search, and you have the same ways that search Cerziel can also search this. Basilius can dump Celine. This is simply the easiest way to get to the combo, but it's not necessarily the only way to get to the combo. There are way too many ways to do it. And a quick note, I won't really go through the entire thing. You can do the same thing you did here, but with Awakening, summoning Catoblepas from the deck. The only difference is that you won't get Zerziel's double attacks, but essentially you get 2 pops and the monster that's 100 attack that can attack. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. It's the simple combo.
Great, thanks a lot.